Good evening, Jesters Court. We're back! That's right, in person. It's King Kopy and myself, Coach Dub. We are here to talk, just to recap, at long last, our first iteration of the 2021-2022 season, our 13th in high school Jesters, and our first in 2 years back in person. Kopy, are you freaking hyped? We just had a ton of improv in person.
Well, now that I got a night of sleep, yes, I forgot how tiring it was. It hit me somewhere in the middle of the day, and I knew I had to kind of forget it and just get through it.
If you think one improv show is a lot, kids, try hosting 11 improv shows in one day, back to 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 back.
Plus setup and tear down and blah.
Lots and lots of logistical stuff to work around, but you had a great staff with you this week. We had a great experience over at Legacy. Legacy, thank you so much for having us. Jesters is back, and we can't be happier. Any other thoughts you want to share with our audience about the feeling of being back, Kopy?
Yeah, man. I definitely had a moment at 8 in the morning where I walked out on stage and just had a real surreal. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot for me to get emotional, and I felt it, and I was just like, come on, it's 8:02 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
8:02, time for tears.
So I was able to get past that without actually getting pretty visibly emotional, but I felt it. I felt all the tinglies of just being out there, and then the whole day kind of went that way. So many just real feel-good moments. Everything about what day one is normally like. For those of you that are watching this for the very first time, this is the 13th year of the league. So for the most part, I've been able to see routine, and this was a pretty cool first day.
If I can, I'd like to agree with you. This is my 8th year with the league, and I couldn't wait to get out of my car at 8 in the morning and try to catch the first Welcome to the Stage, Kopy! And I was really glad I got to see it. I only caught 2 shows this week, and just being there was really hard to leave. It's so nice to have the energy, so nice to see smiling faces, kids ready to play, families ready to support. We had some good turnout in those early shows too,
I was a little surprised by how many people are actually there for the 8 a.m. It doesn't normally work that way, but that was cool. Mm-hmm. If you are in the 8 a.m. show, it's probably because you live a little closer to that school.
Yeah.
A little, normally.
Legacy's a rough drive for most of the valley, no doubt.
So that was cool. That was cool to see that many people there at 8 and 9 in the morning.
We want to say thank you for everybody who participated in our first week. Whether we like it or not, we should share gratitude with everybody who's making Jesters possible this season as we get off the ground. And let's get this off the ground. What is Just to recap? This is our chance to break down everything from the week's action and hilarity, and maybe throw in a couple other segments about what we can do better moving forward, what we'd like to see from the league as a whole, but also celebrate, man. Every week we get to do this, it's a celebration. So let's jump right in with our favorite segment, the segment that is the meat and potatoes of our show, and that is Shows from a Hat!
Is that what that paper sticking out of your hat is?
No! I'm so glad you asked. Yeah, this is a show, one single show that's hanging limply from this hat that I will pull from my forehead and break down with Kopy. We'll talk a little bit about how the show went and, which students stood out, so to speak. So let's start with, this was the 9 a.m. show, if I'm not mistaken. I shouldn't be. I was the coach of one of the teams. How about Del Sol and East Tech?
So first off, walking backstage and seeing 7-foot Blazers and how tall all those boys are right now.
The Blazers are back.
Yeah, we didn't have a ton of. We only had a couple of shows where it was all veterans that were on stage, and East Tech was one of them. All 4 of them have been on stage before and have been with us for a few years. So Anthony, oh my God, you're a monster now. So, and then to get some new people up there for Del Sol, but I knew everyone in this show, so that was kind of neat to see at 9 a.m. But I don't think there's any point of disappointment. It's probably the longest machines I've ever seen.
Sorry.
But it was a lot of fun. Like, just tons of laughter. That first line, last line was such a good just demonstration of what improv is. And on the first day, it's not necessarily about putting on a good show. It's about just getting out there and shaking off the nerves. And that show is a good demonstration of just solid, fun, good improv.
I'm sincerely glad you feel that way. As one of the few shows I get to watch, I should chime in and say congrats to Mac, first Jesters show, coming up and really laying down a gauntlet in that first line, last line game, saying, hey, I'm here and I know how to create.
It's a little weird to see Ghost be a 4-year student now, and just, that was...
No, so much time has passed so quickly, and it's heartbreaking, but it's also super exciting. And one more shout out to Max and Anthony, especially in that first line, last line. You kind of did what I hoped we would do in Jesters and what we want to do in Jesters, and that is bring in kids who've never met, have them shake hands, and then have them go out there and give to each other so many great moments to entertain the audience with. So both of you guys, that was enough for me to really appreciate that show right then and there. So great day to start off on. I'm really glad you felt good about it.
Indeed.
Yeah, let's grab another show. Oh!
That literally just fell out.
I have a volunteer! How nice is that? Well, you know, I think you mentioned this in our lead up, but Desert Pines and A-Tech are next. This is another show I heard raised your eyebrows.
I don't even need to go to my notes for this one. They played like a playoff style show. I couldn't believe the lineup when it was handed to me. Also, another show full of veterans. There's still a lot of returners from Desert Pines, and A-Tech did all 4 veterans. A-Tech, remember, was in our championship last year. They picked up right where they left off, and they learned a game backstage. Desert Pines wanted to play Battleship, and A-Tech didn't know it. So Desert Pines taught them backstage, and then they walked out and just played it for the first time. It's our only show that did 6 things. They did advice panel, they did PAV response, probably the best PAV response I've seen in a while.
Whoa, that's not an easy game to play, a lot of variables.
So, really advanced show for the first day of the season. You picked 2 doozies right out of the gate.
Yeah, I did hit the heavy hitters. Coach Alex over at Desert Pines, I'm probably your biggest fan. Happy to see Battleship come back and be a lifeline for your teams. Glad to see that the A-Tech team's already comfortable enough to take the format of the game and translate it to their improv. That's kind of the goal. We all want to strive to be able to go, what's the game? Don't care, I'll play it. So that's great to hear that A-Tech is looking like the champs that they looked like last year. Let's see if they keep being smooth. But
they're all just falling out.
Yeah, I
might as well
probably
just take the hat off.
Yeah, let's take the hat off, guys. And you know, it's a nice hat. I must say, whoever gave you this Milwaukee Bucks hat must really love you somehow.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, don't agree too hard. Let's jump right in. It was me. Let's jump into our next show. How about Las Vegas versus Secta?
This was a really feel good show for me. This was probably why I do this, is at the end of the show, the 8 of them walked off stage, and rather than, because a lot of people come off stage and go, Kopy, how'd I do, like, that's kind of a thing that happens. That's not what happened here. These 8 walked off stage and immediately were like, oh my god, this was so cool, let's take selfies, let's, like, oh my, I want to remember, it was such a feel-good, happy time, and that's what it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I know Vegas was insanely nervous. I had to go backstage and give a little pep talk before we walked out there. And Secta was 3 veterans and 1 newbie. So the 3 veterans weren't necessarily nervous, but newbie was definitely nervous. Catherine, I know you're very nervous. So this probably had, if there's a show that has the asterisk for the most nervous of the day, it was this one.
Oh boy.
So I got to play a little bit and be in there, and it was just made me really happy at the end of the show.
Kiddos, you did it. You made it through. You've gotten behind your own creativity and now can wave it away for your next opportunity. Don't stress. You did it.
Bianca, I'm serious. I'll be mad if I don't see you at next week's show. So I'm excited to see you.
That's right. And when Kopy's mad, he'll shake his fist at you vociferously.
Yes.
That's your spelling bee word of the week. Vociferously. Want to do a spelling bee round?
Nope.
I didn't think so. A little too much for the head. Next show, another fun one, heavy hitter. If I remember you bringing it up before we started hitting the record button, it's Clark and their Chargers versus the Mountain Lions of Sierra Vista.
This was neat all the way around for me. Sierra Vista's, I mean, it was all new people on stage. And with a new coach, with Ariel.
Great coach for the league.
Absolutely. To see Ariel with basically a fresh crop and then to just grow with that fresh crop. I know at Arborview, she had some veterans that were there when she came in and took over at Arborview. So to see the fresh crop and then just to see what they could do. I mean, they were funny. They were brand new, and when you're that new and funny out of the gate, that's what I want. Now Clark, 2 4-year players were playing, plus a newbie and a half. So Nahome, who was new last year,
welcome back, Nahome,
got his first on-stage show, so in person. So that was
that's
good to
a feel-good moment for sure.
And then Hillel, what a funny partner to Nahome. They're a great twosome mixed in there with Jenna and Blanca. There's just a lot of fun in what they did. So Clark gave me all the watch out vibes for just the season, which was pretty cool to see.
Agreed. Watching Clark gel into a nucleus that's ready to put on great improv is what we've been looking forward to for years. So congratulations, Team Love. That's what we call Clark, right?
Yep.
They've hugged their way to a strong standing improvisational place on week 1 of this Jesters season. So buckle up.
Jade and Jenna's What Else You Got was a real fun round. A real fun round to see their brains digest that one. So
keep it going, Chargers. Keep charging forward, and you Mountain Lions, welcome with your brand new crop. I do hope that you continue to grow and blossom too. 2 schools close to my heart. What can I say? How about we go with another show? This one has got nothing on it, Kopy. I'm disappointed that you would write nothing on a piece of paper and make me improv my way out of that paper bag. Speaking of paper bags, I don't know why I said that. Northwest CTA versus Shadow Ridge. This was the 8 a.m. show.
it was.
And we had more audience members than we normally do at 8 a.m., but they were just as quiet as they normally are.
So kind of like we talked about Nahome a second ago, Shadow Ridge's first year was last year when everything was online.
Belle?
And Belle was in the show.
Yep.
So Belle's first show in person, plus, of course, everyone's first show in person for all of Shadow Ridge. So that was neat. Belle was the only one who played that was in last year. The other 3, it was their first show period in this show.
Versus a couple veterans at that Northwest team, right?
2 veterans for Northwest and then 2 newbies for Northwest. I didn't feel like there were that many newbies on stage.
Right.
Like, it felt really strong all the way around.
Yeah.
Kason is funny. Shadow Ridge Kason, just your goofiness walking into scenes was probably some of my favorite walking into scenes all day. To see All-Star Belle and then to see veteran 4-year Erica and Isaiah. Isaiah's Jaguar and his craziness that he added to the scenes today, or on Saturday, was pretty cool. So that was a way to kick off a season, not just a day, a season.
Yeah. I got to catch half that show before I went backstage to prep Del Sol, and I was really excited to see Isaiah and Erica, of course. It's their senior year. Talk about a twosome that can make some noise this year. Northwest always puts out a strong team with Coach Kraft and company. So I would expect them to really grow around those 2. And you could sense how that was happening this week. They were always ready to step in and do the cool thing that others weren't doing or tie everything together to make it okay. Keep flexing those skills, Northwest, and you'll be right back where you always are, and that is one of the teams to watch, right? Cool.
Shadow Ridge, keep rocking. Coach Miley's doing what I know she knows how to do. I know you got a lot of students, so I can't wait to get you all up there and get rocking.
Miley's got so much unbelievable pizzazz and fire as a coach. Like, all you have to do is put yourself out there, and she will lead you to promised water. I promise. I promised again. So let's watch another show, shall we, and break it down. This one's El Dorado and LVA, Las Vegas Academy. Everybody's always freaked out when they're playing LVA.
So Elliot's a senior now.
Oh!
Little baby.
The hero that won them the title.
2019 championship hero.
Yep.
Elliot's now a senior.
Does he have senior presence?
Of course. And 2 feet taller than he used to be.
It's about time he grew up.
With all new people around him.
Yep.
So Sedona, whose first year was last year online, got to do their first show. Paige's first show, Bram. And then with El Dorado, we got a third, it's not generation, but we have a third sibling Zach Graham is the youngest sibling of the Graham family, who the older two have graduated and been through the league with East Tech.
Nice.
So that's really cool. I could tell even with the mask. So Zach walked backstage with the mask on, of course, and I saw just in the eyes. I went, "Oh my God, you look just like him."
There's another Graham.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of fun with the El Dorado boys on Saturday. You could tell they were just having fun together when they were up there. So LVA, I think, is going to be capable of really good stuff. They played some Party Quirks, and Party Quirks are a lot harder than people realize it is. But they were able to find a lot of fun little laughs in there. And then El Dorado just had a lot of fun. What more could you ask for?
Hey, I gotta ask this. Did you have to go in and help that Party Quirks finish up?
No, but
Nice.
I was one of the suggested quirks. It was like me
To be Kopy.
and of course Elliot took it and
Nice.
And did it. But I had 8 times. I was like, I could go in and give a cue here. I was like, yeah, they'll be fine. They'll get it. In Party Quirks, normally I do come in. Didn't have to.
That's a win in and of itself. So good job, team, for playing one of the harder games in the league and having fun and making it look good. But hey, El Dorado's road is paved with fun. We'll see if they continue to blossom this year. It's always good to hear that chemistry is growing amongst the students. How about another show, Kopy? Arborview and West Tech. That's the tech that's west of us.
On paper, this may have been the one I was the most excited about.
Sure.
Going into Saturday.
Yeah. Two teams really found their footing last year.
Yep. Arborview, they got there at, I don't know, noon or 11 or something, and you knew they were in the room. The room got incredibly louder. There's something about Allison and Audrey giving suggestions that made me laugh just from giving suggestions. And then West Tech now, I would argue, is led by Ashley and Aaron, led by the twins.
Nice.
Because a lot of those heavy hitter seniors have graduated.
Yep.
So I was ready for this one out of the gate. So
Sure.
West Tech had a fun pajama thing. If East Tech has blazers, I don't know if West Tech's going to do that for everyone or what, but that was really cool. They all had this pajama look. And then Arborview did all veterans, and we got to see Rowan come back. So
Oh, wow, cool.
So Rowan was on the team a few years ago, stopped doing improv for a little while, and then came back, and that immediately makes my heart happy when that happens. So, and then of course Rowan's 2 feet taller too. So,
Nice.
And I guess technically this is Allison's first show in person.
Technically, get
So-
it? Like West Tech? I got a view on what you did there.
Allison is our reigning rookie of the year, but
Yeah.
Allison had never done a show on stage.
Nope.
So that was really neat for me.
Did she grow 2 feet too? Because I was always shocked by how short she was in person.
Oh, wait, you haven't met her in person. Allison?
I coached her for a week with the aerial. I did. I covered. Don't hate me.
Just kidding. So,
Tiny.
yeah, so for me, on paper, this was cool to see.
Sure.
2 award nominee with Audrey, got MVP
Yeah.
nominee last year, and then the twins were on the main stage cast last year, so I was ready for it. Didn't disappoint. It was a neat moment in the day.
I would have circled that show too. So glad to hear it lived up to expectations. A great premiere for what's probably going to come in an exciting playoff bracket. Not that we need to be talking about that already. Anyway, our next show is Rancho versus Sunrise Mountain. 2 East teams with new chapters ahead of them.
Yeah, this was neat. I got to find out Ronnie Han's little brother is now continuing, and
In East Tech? Or I mean Sunrise?
At Sunrise, yep.
Oh, that's so cool.
Ronnie was definitely a crowd favorite, a coach favorite. We all loved Ronnie. And Zach, his brother, was hilarious.
Zach Hahn.
You could tell, like they are definitely related.
That's exciting.
So all show, that's all my brain was doing, was connecting the two.
Oh, that's fun.
Miriam, I could sense the nerves, but gosh, are you intelligent? I loved hearing when the words came out. They had a real fun Jeopardy with Margot on their team. Their Jeopardy characters connected. Margot was stuck in a ventilation shaft. There's actually a moment I tried to set up Margot came into the scene and says, I don't have a name. I've never had a name. I've been hiding in ventilation shack. And it was a really funny moment, and we never got to find out what Margot's name was in the scene.
Clever character choice from that student, whoever that would be.
Yeah. And then you flip over to Rancho, Harley and Althea, to see you two side by side again in your fourth years. Kai's very first show up there with you. It was really cool to see how different everyone was in that show. Margot, of course, transferring to a different school.
Right.
There was a lot of different things in the show that made up a really funny, good show.
So Althea is on that team? What?
So Althea as a freshman went to Rancho.
Right.
Right, that's how they met. That's how Harley and Althea were friends.
I see.
Althea transferred to Cimarron.
Okay.
So it's lots of changes, but nonetheless, it was really cool to see those different performers on stage for this show with all the changes.
Sounds like a pretty unique lineup, full of changes. So too bad we missed it if you did, and if you were there, then you're in luck. That was quite a fun
Harley, after the day finished, you still gave me my best chuckle backstage. That was my favorite joke of the day. So thank you, Harley. I can't share it.
Yeah, due to vagueness, we'll just move on.
Yep.
All right. So next, speaking of Cimarron, how about Cimarron and Centennial? Team not so adorable, I understand.
So another funny moment I love all the backstage jokes and funny moments, but I met Eden from Cimarron a month ago or something like that. And Eden's like, no, I'm not gonna do improv. Like, I just, it's not for me. I'm not gonna do it. And then here comes Eden in their improv shirt, walking backstage, and I had to throw it back in their face. It's like, oh, look who's here.
Yeah.
It's Eden. And Eden was great. Like, Cimarron had it's a new crew.
Okay.
So Sam transferred from Cheyenne.
Okay.
So.
Sam Umholtz, right?
Yes, Sam Umholtz is on
like
Cimarron.
needs someone like Sam Umholtz. Oh my gosh.
Andrea was a ton of fun. Like, probably my favorite on-stage joke of the day was
interesting distinction.
I know. I thought it was so good and so clever. Was Althea's
perfect
country hijinks. It was the country hijinks switch which was clearly paper rock scissors. Althea turned that really into a brilliant moment. And then you flip this over to Centennial.
Sure.
Joe Detry backstage looks at the new people of Cimarron and says, hey, the only way this show's going to be good is if we do this together. And just automatic, heart flutters.
Aww.
And then the rest of the Centennial team, it was their first show. So Jordan cracked me up backstage. Jasmine was ready to run out there and go. Ellie was ready to run out there and go. So that was a cool show, a feel-good show for me as well. So
nice to see Centennial changing over to a new chapter with poise and playfulness and a little less adorability. We've been asked to rebrand them a tad.
But Joe was in the show. Joe's an old vet. Joe's a part of it. Joe can hold on to it a little bit. You can hold on to Team Adorable a little bit.
Calm your roll, Kopy.
Fine.
All right. We've got time for another show, no doubt. Another show that's coming right out. As a matter of fact, this is our second to last one. It is Desert Oasis versus the West of Tech. Western. Excuse me.
So Western finally has a theater program. First time in however many years it's been. So thank goodness they can actually go and use their theater. This is the first time we've been successfully able to have improv practice in their theater at their school.
Yes!
So huge that now they're having some rockiness throughout the year with teacher changes and whatnot, but thank goodness there's something going on because those boys were just having fun up there on Saturday.
Good.
That was so neat to see, and I think they had a rock star 9 out of 10. They really did well in that 9 out of 10 setup. And I think you could just see them as the show was going on. It's like, this is really cool. It is really cool to be up here doing this. They played radio as a team choice. That's gutsy. Like, just 4 people having to stand there and just independently be funny without having someone help you or give you something to yes and.
Sure.
That's gutsy for a bunch of rookies. So
I'll say,
that was pretty cool. And then Dio was split was with an old all-star with Bree on stage, and Daniel, some veterans with brand new and definitely shy performers. So Zai, you did it.
Yay, Zai!
Emma, you did it. So
Yay, Emma!
So now that that's out of the way, now we just keep rocking.
Yeah.
We keep rocking, we keep learning, we keep growing, and you're in amazing hands with Corey. So
yeah.
This was another cool moment of the day.
Coach Corey, one of the greatest ever in Jesters history. That's just documented. That's not a subjective thing. Plus, a wonderful staff member, somebody who's seen enough Jesters shows at this point or been a part of enough Jesters shows to really lead any type of team forward. So, Dio, you are in fantastic hands. Glad to hear both programs had a fun week, as all the schools seem to have. As, you know, guess what? That's our legacy, Kopy, is kids having fun. That's our legacy, and that was Legacy's legacy as they went toe-to-toe with Del Sol in the final show we'll break down this week.
You should host television.
So he's lying.
So here's what's really funny about this one. This was the last show of the day at 6 p.m. And I think every person that was in this show was there at 8 a.m. So
wow! Yay! Can we just lunch break that?
And even before that, so Daniel from Legacy was there before I was. So I got there at 6:20 a.m. and Daniel was there. So now I will say in the actual show the crowd was a lot smaller. So them on stage, you could almost tell they had been there for 12 hours. It was just tough to keep that energy going as I fight through that all the time. But they did it. They did it. A fun GTA out of the gate.
Yay! Not an easy game to play. Fun.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of moving parts to Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
And students, it's always this weird split of students who like that game versus don't like that game.
Right.
But if you go into it and just have fun with it, that's what you're supposed to be doing. A lot of moving parts, have fun. They did it.
Yep.
After 12 hours of hanging out at Legacy all day. So, Legacy, thank you for hosting us this weekend and being the closing show. Good luck with your play coming up with Clue. So.
And that has been your rendition of Shows from a Hat for week 1. We hope you enjoyed your breakdowns of your respective shows, and we'll move on to our next segment. One thing we don't really allow when we're on stage at Jesters is props. Props are the things that are tangible that we use, like if I use this hat as a shield, that is not good, that is props. But if I pantomime my hat as a shield, then it's just an ineffective defense. Anyway, point being, we don't like props on stage, but off stage, props are what we use to uplift those schools, staff members, and shows that maybe helped prop up the day, made it a little better, made it a little brighter, made it a little more memorable. Kopy likes to give out 3 props every week, and we're not going to stop on the first week of the season, guys. We'll jump right in. Kopy, what are your 3 props this week?
I have to start with the staff.
Yes.
I absolutely start with them. So for those
Hats
of you,
off to you guys.
Yeah, those of you that might not know who that is, that's okay. But that's a sign to how good they are. So Beth and Song and Corey, who've been around the longest, made the day go so smooth.
Good.
And we had some new staff learning some things. Like if you heard some of the sound glitches during the day, and we had new staff trying to help and whatnot. But those rocks of who the staff have been for a long time just made it so much easier. So especially with new COVID guidelines and logs and signing stuff. It wouldn't have gone the way it went without you. So staff, thank you so much. Let's keep this year rolling.
Everybody who does this league, folks, are volunteers. So everybody's sitting there behind a computer screen for 12 hours helping Kopy to be heard, helping Kopy to be Kopy, helping host these shows. Everybody deserves some credit. Except for Roman. Roman, what the heck was that this week, okay? Get in the game!
He's going to call you immediately.
Well, whatever. I'm just kidding, Roman. We love you. You're the mascot of Jesters. We just tease. But have some coffee next week. So, for the second prop, please, Kopy.
Nothing ever truer has been said that I should put this on the Jesters billboard. Joe Detry from Centennial, your backstage comment to me, not to me, to your fellow performers, was exactly what this league's about. No show is going to work well, or no show is going to be good if we don't work together.
Right.
Just your way of saying, hey, we got this. We're not enemies right now. We're going to put on a good show. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you guys, I think they immediately turned into a human knot. So they immediately started all shaking hands.
And let's assimilate.
Turned into a human knot.
Very good.
Yeah, Joe, that is the epitome of this league. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. The whole league needs to hear that. So Joe gets my props. Absolutely.
Yeah, he gets it, and he's just getting started on show 1. And I hope that all of us as schools and students are ready to work together, because it's going to make your improv better. If you listen to the person across the stage who throws you a bone, and you capitalize on that bone, we all appreciate it better, including the audience members, trust me. So look for those ways you can uplift those around you, and thank you, Joe, for understanding what we're trying to lay down. And our third prop.
My third prop I'm going to give to Maya Madrigal from West Tech.
Nah. Madrigal?
Madrigal.
That's an improv game.
It is. So, I taught it to them. So,
the irony.
West Tech's had some heavy hitters over the past couple of years.
Yes.
And I think there's going to be a lot of... the focus is going to be watching the Twins this year. And Maya's been learning and growing. And I would argue Maya's definitely had a shyness to her. So to see those 4 girls up there play that well together, and then Maya play at the level that you played, like for me, that was just some growth I saw.
Yes.
So I got to give you some love and say, Maya, you get my props this week.
It's a big deal, Maya, because as you may have learned from previous seasons, and for some of you jesters who are new to the fold now, there's a little award season near the end of the year where certain awards like Rookie of the Year and MVP are kind of doled out and considered. And one of those awards is the Most Improved Improver Award, and usually students who take a leap from year to year stand out to Kopy pretty fast. So the fact that you stand out in week 1 should tell you something. Keep bringing what you brought to week 1, and we'll continue to celebrate you throughout the season. So good for you, Maya. And that doesn't mean everything was perfect, though. You know, every week in Jesters, we have some growing pains, whether we're in person or digital as we were last year. But now back in person, we've got a whole new set of Bambi legs, right? What are we doing? Kopy has what we like to call Kopy's Challenges. These are sometimes unique games we play at the end of our shows when we have some extra time. But in the context of just a recap, Kopy's Challenges are what we want to see the league incorporate into their plans moving forward to make the league run a little better, a little safer, a little smoother, a little bit more fun. So Kopy, in that vein, you've got a Kopy's Challenge for us this week, I can imagine.
Yeah, I'd like to continue the spirit of what Las Vegas High School and SECTA did after their show, and moving forward into this coming week, because we haven't been together in 2 years physically, is go make a friend. So, yeah. Every school's different this year as far as small teams, big teams. Everyone's experiencing something different, but we're all there to do the exact same thing. And truly, it's really to make a friend. So you can do that on stage, you can do that off stage. If there's someone you clicked with or you had fun with, you El Dorado boys, like if you just have friends that you're clearly having fun with, make that friend, connect with them on whatever social medias you use or however you guys communicate. It's so easy to get caught up in a moment and smile and turn around and go, oh, wait a minute. I didn't connect with that person in another way. So try and do that this week. Try and make a friend.
You know, the competition of camaraderie is what we're really selling here, okay? It's the pseudo-competition that we're against each other. We're not. We're here to help each other have good moments. That camaraderie comes with the mentality of it. So please try to reach across the aisle at the team that's across from you, and let them know that you're there with them too. We're all about to do a show together. It's going to be bad if you work too hard to look better than the other people. It's not what we're here for. So uplift them, make friends, practice with them before, or warm up with each other before you get out on stage, and be ready to share critique. Why? Because it makes everybody better. Just work together. That's the gist of what we do. But there is one context where I think camaraderie kind of takes away, and it's one specific improv game, Kopy, called Town Hall Meeting. I feel like there wasn't enough bickering in our town audiences this weekend.
It's a very clear sign that we just haven't been together physically in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So online, playing Town Hall Meeting's hard to bicker because the audio issues of when one person speaks versus another.
Right.
So we just have to get back into that mode. So what that means is when someone's speaking, you as a player in that game, you can speak. You can throw your character doesn't just have to have a clever idea and then sit down. Let that character live throughout the entire game. And that will just take some learning about how to be back together in person.
Yep.
So
build the relationships in the game and stand for what you believe in, friends. Those bickering segments in Town Hall Meeting are what we hosts love to try to corral. Okay?
Yep.
And so that leaves us with just, one more major segment. But before we say goodbye, I did want to point out that a special milestone is approaching for Jesters this year in their 13th season. Kopy, do you want to share what we've got kind of looming on our horizon?
yeah, we've already had a hiccup with COVID stoppage this year, but if something doesn't change the schedule, we will hit our 1,000th show this year.
Wow.
Which is kind of neat. And I guess for me, let's say if you're in a play and the play premieres this weekend, let's say you do it on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Let's get crazy and say you do 4 or 5 shows in a weekend and then you do it a second week. Mm-hmm. Maybe you put on 10 shows max, right?
Sure.
At the most ever, 10 shows max.
Yeah.
And then it's done, right? That's it. That
Forever.
play's over.
Yeah.
We're about to put on our 1,000th show. That's kind of neat. That's pretty cool to see that the league's about to hit that. So hopefully we get there and COVID doesn't spoil too much fun for us.
Right.
But that's pretty cool that we might hit that this year.
1,000 shows, and he's not even 40. That's amazing. He's pretty close to 40, though. Just being honest. Really
I've
close.
got several years.
Several. That's more than 2, and I doubt it. All right, folks. One last bit for you tonight. It is what I like to call our Kopy question. I like to throw questions at Kopy, and Kopy likes to answer them. That's all this is. Don't get hyped. Today's question is actually going to be really improvisationally based because we can all learn a little bit from the brain of improvisational knowledge Kopy's got. And one of the ones I want to poke as a coach is how would you recommend to the students who are entering scenes? How do you recommend they approach the characters they bring in? Because in the beginning part of the day here when we were talking our shows, you mentioned a couple of really cool 3rd and 4th characters who came into scenes and shook them up and made them fun and interesting. If you're giving the kids an idea of how to enter a scene, how do you break it down?
It's got to be a gut reaction. I know we want to create an idea and find a way to force it in, but it's got to be a reaction. That is the purest, the best way to connect to what's happening. It's got to be scene work. It's got to be the Audrey Radiff way, which is a real throwback name if we're talking 1,000 years or 1,000 shows.
Yeah. 1,000 years.
But someone who can just naturally react to a moment, make it pure. That's what you want. The Jenna Thomases from Clark. You just want that real gut reaction. So don't be so much up here.
Yeah. If you're sitting on the sidelines going, I need to make my hobo character work, or I need to make this airplane crash that I'm about to introduce randomly into the scene work. If you're looking to force your issue instead of listening to what's happening on stage, then you're going about it a little bit off kilter, okay? So just make it up on the spot. That's what improv is. Try not to walk in with a prearranged plan. Are you still with me, Helen?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Am I right? Was that correct, Dad?
You nailed it.
He's not my dad. So that's it, folks. That was our first recap, and we hope you had a great time. Why don't you throw a comment down and tell us what you'd like to see in these, so we can make sure you kids are getting the most out of your Jester recaps from this awesome Jester season that we're just kicking off. So it's been a fantastic treat for me. Kopy, any final thoughts before we say goodnight?
We will see you at Clark. There are 7 schools that had a bye in the first week, so there's 7 schools you get to meet this week at Clark, in addition to the other schools that are going to perform. So week 1 is still going to be pretty much new this week.
There you have it. So, Clark, we're coming at you. Let's charge the season forward. And for all of us at High School Jesters, I've been Coach Dub, that's Kopy, and we'll see you next time on Just a Recap. Bye!